Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to start off with a quick verse that says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Doesn't he first sit down and calculate the cost? Now, when Jesus told that story about carrying costs, he wasn't talking about ad spend, but he might as well have been. Every outdoor brand and every business for that matter always has the same question. Can I afford to keep buying customers? Now, what do we mean by that? We'll get into that a little bit, but between privacy changes, attribution noise, and ad platforms reporting fantasy numbers, knowing your real return has never been harder, really. But this isn't about fancy formulas. It's really about stewardship and making sure every dollar invested brings around a good return that honors God and builds a lasting profit. So today we're going to break down CAC, or customer acquisition cost, and lifetime value, and payback windows, marketing return ratios, things like that. So you know exactly how much you can spend and still sleep in peace. My name is Jacob Curtis. I'm a CPA, certified profit first professional, and your financial guide. My mission is really simple. That's to help business owners like you finally get paid, master your cash flow, and run a business that gives you the freedom that you are looking for. Now, I started Curtis Accounting Solutions because most business owners don't need more spreadsheets, right? What they really need is a plan that works, even with inventory, seasonal sales, and some cash flow accounts. Drop a comment below, hit the like button, and let's dive into today's discussion. Most brands and businesses and outdoor businesses I talk with are spending more to acquire customers than ever before without realizing how thin their margins have actually become. Now, they're chasing revenue goals while quietly starving that capital. In fact, it's so you're going to run into some capital problems because of this. But Profit First really flips that script. Before you chase growth, you decide what profit you're going to keep. Then you spend what's left over to acquire the customers responsibly. And that's really biblical stewardship within intention before expanding. So for example, if your ads, if you spend $40 in ads and get a $60 order, but you only clear $20 in gross margin, you're already losing some money, you're losing margin, right? Now, profit-focused brand aim for a 3-to-1 lifetime value to CAC ratio. That means if you spend $50 to get a customer, you should earn at least $150 in total revenue from that customer. Now, if your margins are tight, customer acquisition costs have to come down, or your lifetime value has to go up. If either of those things are not happening, you're going to go broke. And so Profit First really helps to see that clearly because your cash doesn't lie. Your cash in your bank accounts don't lie. Let's say that your first order covers only half of your acquisition cost, your CAC. If your second purchase from the customer then takes 6 months to arrive, your cash flow suffers even if your lifetime value looks great on paper. And that's why we focus on payback windows, the time it takes for that customer to come back and return your investment, right? So you've invested in them through ad spend and acquiring them as a customer, but what we really want them to do is come back more quickly. Now, quick payback terms equals flexibility. You have more capital available to you, but slow payback equals some higher risk things. So Profit First keeps you disciplined and it allows you to only spend what your cash flow allows. We're not going to spend money we don't have. It's not what a dashboard promises or what the numbers say will happen. This is actual cash flow, and that's what's so important here. When we are looking at this, we want to look at and see and do some big returns. And so what we want to look at here is your return on ad spend. And now that might say that it's 4x your revenue, but that's only a partial truth. In fact, Apple's privacy policy shredded attribution accuracy. We don't really know exactly what that would be and attribute those returns on. Now, your MER, or your marketing efficiency ratio, shows your blended performance. So you're looking at all of your marketing efforts, not just, a certain channel of marketing, but all of them. So if you spend $100,000 on all your marketing across the board and you bring in $400,000, then your marketing efficiency ratio is 4. That's really what stewardship is all about. And that's the real stewardship method, is looking at the actual numbers, not just what the different marketing ad placement agencies are showing you on the dashboard. You want to look at dollar for dollar. This is how much I really spent versus how much really came in. So when you're tracking your marketing efficiency ratio monthly and you align that with your Profit First accounts, you know exactly how much margin actually remains for profit, taxes, paychecks, and operating business. So let's get a little practical. If your business earns $100,000 a month and your Profit First plan allocates 50% of that to COGS and inventory, 15% to owner's pay, 15% to taxes, and 15% to profit, that really leaves only 20% for operations, which includes your marketing budget. So if your total customer acquisition cost or your CAC budget, it must fit within that 20% amount. And that doesn't even include all the rest of the operations. So it really needs to be lower than that. If you push ads beyond that 20% mark, you're really going to be borrowing from your future. And that means that you're going to be probably struggling with some cash flow issues. Now, stewardship means protecting that margin before pursuing that growth. We really want to make sure that we are making sure we're making the money before we're spending money. Now let's run some math here. If you're $1 million in revenue and you spend $200K in total marketing spend, that gives you a MRR of 5. Meaning for every dollar in your marketing spend, that brings in $5 in revenue, which is a pretty good number. After COGS and operations, you still hit your 10% mark, your 10% profit goal, which is great. But if your ad spend starts to creep up to $300K, that means your MRR, your marketing efficiency ratio, drops to 3.3. And suddenly your growth is erased, or just erased that profit you just had, because now your ad spend has eaten away at that profit margin. So your marketing efficiency ratio, or MER, keeps you on. It's a truth-telling stewardship market metric that really looks at the cash that is spent versus the cash that's come in. So I tell clients all the time that marketing doesn't eat first. It's second or third or fourth on the table, right? But because profit is the most important part, we want profit to come first. Every allocation day, every 2 weeks, and you want to review your numbers, review your marketing efficiency ratios, your lifetime value of your customers, and your customer acquisition costs together. We want to look at all those numbers as a whole. Individually, they tell a little bit of the story and they're a piece of the puzzle, but they're not the full puzzle. And so we want to make sure that we look at them and get the full picture. Now, if numbers slip, you don't want to panic. What we want to do is just adjust and get creative with the way that we are using the resources that we've gotten. And faithful stewardship means protecting that system and not chasing shiny things, getting shiny object syndrome, right? We really want to look at the numbers and see what the real life numbers are telling us in the bank accounts. So when Jesus fed the 5,000, he didn't multiply what he didn't have. He multiplied what he had and managed that well. So the same applies to your ad budget. God blesses order and not a lot of chaos. And so if you steward your marketing dollars with clarity, you're going to find peace and profit growing together. If you have any questions or need assistance with managing your company's finances, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help you turn that inventory chaos and cash flow chaos into some predictable profit and help you experience some real financial freedom. You can schedule a call with me by going to jacobcurtiscpa.com and click the link below or scan the QR code. And don't forget to follow me, Jake Curtis and Curtis Accounting Solutions on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and YouTube. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll talk to you later.